Welcome to the Rev Up Rebellion podcast. This week's episode is with yours truly. I actually just wanted to take a moment to stop, pause, and reflect and share on 5 opportunities and challenges, probably a bit of a double-edged sword, that I'm seeing in market. The first one that I'm seeing is the pace of change that we're all navigating right now is becoming so overwhelming. As context for you, we just had an event with some very senior revenue leaders, and it was really fascinating to see how many of them were referencing the ability to prioritize, keeping up with the pace of change, just navigating all the things. And one share that I wanted to provide that I've really seen cut through this noise at this point in time is running things like a 30-day challenge. So what we've done with a lot of our clients is after a kickoff or a session, we've then left them with a 30-day challenge. Now you can cheat and make this 30 business days, which makes it 6 weeks. But the beauty and why it's working in terms of 30 days is it's enough time to actually gain some serious momentum, to get some great outcome and some results. But it's a short enough time that it drives a sense of urgency. Too short, people feel too under pressure, the overwhelm continues. Too long, and we just think I've got loads of time to do that, it goes to the bottom of the list. So 30 days seems to be this magic sweet spot. One of our clients, in just over a week, actually, it's probably under 2 weeks, they already gained 500K of net new pipeline by doing this. I've been eating my own dog food and also doing my own 30-day challenge. Mine has been around AI and adopting AI in more of our workflows. And it's been really good to have a sense of accountability and also gain some serious momentum. And what I think it's also done for me is really reflect on that point that none of us have the time. Every client diagnostic that we run before working with them presents the greatest challenge right now is I don't have time. Whether that's I don't have time to learn, I don't have time to do AI, I don't have time to prospect, whatever it is, it's the same thing of I don't have time. So what I'm finding with a 30-day challenge is picking the biggest battle that is the most valuable to you at this point in time and then making the time. And some days my 30-day challenge, it's minimal. Other days I dive much deeper. But it's that continuous 1% every day that is actually really delivering the compound interest. The second thing that I'm seeing work so well right now is how we actually go smaller and more intimate. One of our clients is doing quarterly roundtables with around 10 to 14 people each time, making it very, very curated, intimate, closed-door conversations. They're having great success with it. We've done the same thing. We ran an International Women's Day event and it was invite only. There was no landing page or public invite, and we managed to gain a really, really, really senior audience. What was interesting when we asked that audience who go to events all the time and we asked them for their feedback, the overwhelming feedback was how much they enjoyed actually that smaller, intimate setting where you could have a really great conversation with the person sitting next to you and it wasn't some large-scale event. Now, place for everything. There's places for large-scale events, places for smaller. But at the moment, what I'm noticing is there's probably an underrepresentation of actually some of those intimate small events, and the ability to build relationships in that curated closed-door setting is actually really significant. My shout out here is trying something small, curated, closed-door, exclusive, intimate setting. There's really an opportunity there to lean into that whilst everybody else is going quite heavily automated and AI. The third opportunity and challenge, and this one's definitely a double-edged sword that we're seeing right now, is AI agents. I feel like when you watch a running race, you're watching the Olympics, and you start to just see a couple of the outliers sprinting ahead. And what initially was only a couple meters then becomes actually much further ahead, and then they've got the lead. There's no way back from that. That's almost how it feels right now. We just had on the podcast, so check it out and go back to it. We just had HubSpot on telling us how they've trained all of their team on AI agents, and in one of their pilots saw a 95% reduction in admin time. And so there's a real opportunity there to actually combine the two. How do you use AI to do a lot of the admin, the research, some of that in-depth prospecting, but then actually once you've done that, then add the personal touch, go in person, build that deep relationship. I really feel like there's starting to just be a real separation there when it comes to AI right now. We're still speaking to some clients who have got AI is banned for security reasons, and totally understand there's some complex challenges there. But then by the same token, we've got teams now really away, leaning into quite advanced use cases. So I feel like the time is now. I'm definitely feeling under pressure to keep gaining momentum and keep learning. It feels like you blink and overnight there's some new announcement or some new functionality or some new change. So again, I'm finding just that 1% every day. And whereas previously, I convinced myself I don't have time to attend that webinar, I don't have time to listen to that podcast and learn. Now I'm feeling a sense with AI as actually I don't have the time not to get on board with this and start making greater progress, which can come quite quickly once you start actually putting it as a priority and leaning into it. So I know we're all kind of probably a little bit overhearing the words AI. I think now is the time to go well beyond prompting and really start leaning more into AI agents. A final thought on that one, something that I found has worked really well with teams as well, is scheduling 30 minutes, maybe a Friday afternoon when you're not potentially out seeing clients, 30 minutes a week of AI playtime. And just really ensuring that as an organization, we're seeing it as a priority. What I'm finding now as well is the difference isn't just becoming between organizations of, we've got AI licenses, we're leaning into AI and the other companies not. I'm actually finding it's now differences between individuals. I can speak to the same team and one person saying, I've never tried Copilot or whatever tool it might be, and the person sitting next to them has already started building out some of their workflows and some more advanced use cases. Same team, same leadership, same access to license, very different outcome. So I think there's a real interesting opportunity there as to how do you take some of that personal ownership as well to really start moving the needle. The fourth one that I'm seeing is actually a little bit different. Go big, not go small is my fourth observation. What I mean by this is there's a really interesting thing at the moment I'm finding that actually sometimes when we're trying to access the more senior people, or maybe it's a larger company that we've been trying to sort of get in with, I'm actually finding that in many instances with ourselves and our clients, we're having more success. And often we almost put them in this bucket as they're going to be out of reach. They're going to be too hard to access. They're going to be too hard to get hold of. And I'm actually interestingly finding right now, the bigger we go, the better the cut through that we actually often get. Bizarrely, in my world, in the podcast, I've actually just had a very similar thing. Sometimes I've contacted guests who I think actually they're within Sydney, they're within reach, they'll probably say yes, have been saying no. And then I go for someone, quite big, and they've said yes. I've seen the same thing in both the sales capacity and also in other realms as well. I'm finding at the moment that going big is actually less noisy and in many ways is actually easier. The final theme that I am seeing right now is around constraint. I think that going back onto point number one, everyone is overwhelmed. The pace of change is just incredible. There are so many priorities and so many things for us to do. I'm noticing an absolute theme right now in people and businesses and leaders who are managing to actually navigate this complexity. They are deliberately putting in constraint. And it's almost like the Steve Jobs school of thought when he was creating the iPhone, of there's so many different features and functionality and things that we can actually do and add, but he put very intentional constraint around it and what they were going to focus on and brought that brutal focus. And I'm finding right now it's the same thing in business. How are we putting constraint? And arguably our list of what we're not going to do is actually longer than the things that we're going to do. Appreciate sometimes this is easier said than done, but I'm finding right now that's the only way that a lot of leaders that I'm speaking to who are successfully navigating this are able to actually cut through the noise. They're able to actually get anything done amongst the busyness. And then finally on that, it's really a sense of protecting the team's energy, the team's resources, and making sure that we're avoiding burnout. So I hope that was a useful overview of some of what I am seeing in market. My big takeaway is really starting with small steps, compound interest, 1% better every day, and take it from there. Before you go, I want to do a quick shout out for our REV Up program, which is a capability pathway which you can do as part of our public cohort or privately for your team, or even for your partner ecosystem. What we did was we looked at all of the skills that you need to be successful in this current market, from AI, prospecting, emotional intelligence, storytelling, you name it, we've got it all covered under one roof. We then went and curated 10 of the best global experts to be able to deliver that learning and capability uplift in live, interactive, monthly masterclasses, coupled with monthly challenges and team breakout rooms so that you start executing before you even leave the room. There is a link in the show notes so you can find out everything that you need to know. And finally, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode of Rev Up Rebellion out every Tuesday.